Hello, everyone. Well, good day, ladies from around the world. It's very good to see many of you here. I am Kim Underhill, President of BPW Singapore. Together with me today, I have Valerie Lim, our first Vice President, and Lisa Fong, President of BPW Hong Kong. Three of us will moderate tonight's sessions. Before we begin, we'd like to thank Dr. Ann and team for putting together this amazing BPW celebration series. Many of us have attended the last few sessions with so much sharing and learning. A quick insight about BPW Singapore. We were established 48 years ago. Today, with women from 21 countries, we continue to focus on raising the bar for business and professional women, looking for a community where they can connect, communicate, collaborate, and contribute to increase valuable global networking opportunities and purposeful enrichments through our educational programs. In wrapping up this incredible series, we are honored to moderate discussions surrounding the future of BPW. With this, I'm going to pass the mic, basically, to Lisa to do a quick intro on BPW Hong Kong before we move forward for the breakout sessions.
Thank you. Thank you, Kim. So my name is Lisa Fong. I'm the current president of BPW Hong Kong. Welcome everyone to our day 5 of the event. And it's a pleasure to meet all the sisters from around the world. So for the Hong Kong Club, our first club was established back in 1979 with over 30 years history. And our newer club, we are launched recently in 2015 by Dr. Ann Hilty. And I'm currently the 3rd running president. We have over 50 members, and over half of our members are young BPW. So I very much look forward to all the ideas that our sister will bring today. So with this, I'll pass on to Valerie to kick off the session today.
Thank you, Lisa. Hi, ladies. So we have a very exciting session planned for everyone. How it will work is that there will be 3 breakout groups. Each breakout group will have 1 question each. I will save the questions for a moderator. And what we want is to see and hear ideas that are visionary. How can we best take BPW forward in new ways? We all know we have good best practices that we've done, but now we want to push the boundaries. We want to take BPW forward, and we want to have an action plan which we can then share at the end of this session. So with that, let us go into our breakout rooms.
Welcome back, everyone. Wow, 30 minutes went by so fast. We do have very, very good takeaway from our breakout sessions. Our question was, how do we merge traditions and the future, not forgetting what we have done in the last 90 years, and how can we take that as well as start looking at ways and actions we can do in order for us to continue our future, to have a brighter future. Betsy shares about, we talk about, isn't it amazing that we have this Zoom conference whereby so many nationalities are able to join? Look at all the women that we have from different time zones. Someone is at 5 a.m., somebody's in the afternoon, somebody's at midnight right now, to be able to come together. The one key message that came from many of our women in terms of the future is about succession planning. How active are we, or how conscious are our clubs focusing on succession planning? Are we already planning for the next exco? Are we building that team within the members that we have? We talk about having a leadership summit. We talk about ensuring that there's a line of leaders that we can build upon, rather than when the time comes, we start trying to figure out who to take on. So succession planning was one big thing that came out of the Zoom sessions. And the other thing he's talking about, we need to start thinking about creating events that is relevant and relevance to the changing environments, right? For the younger members, for the youth, how they're thinking, the interest group, so to speak. What are the key things that they are interested in? How can we draw them with that? And most importantly, it's also about inclusion, right? Anu talked about we need to focus also about inclusion. It's not about what we say. Yes, we have a lot of experienced, mature women, mature members with a lot to share, but we need to listen better and we need to find ways to include them better. And we have, what else we have? We have quite a few people sharing about. Helen from New Zealand talks about how do we unite all the leaders that we have across the globe? You know, use the leaders to share ideas, to be able to help us use the experience that we have in the history to come up with programs and activities that will draw new members, that will draw young members. Susan Jones talks about conferences is the future for us. So if not for the pandemic, we would have had this in person. But having it in person also restrict many people to be able to attend. We need to look at going forward, how can we still have the conferences in person, as well as opening up to have digital, having Zoom attendance, so that more people can actually come on board to be a part of this amazing community when we next do a Congress, any big conferences that's coming up. And we also talk about, in order for us to move forward, to look at the future, we also need to start to look at what all the clubs have done, our history, our advocacy. You know, Nalima talks about there were so many great advocacy and things that we have done through all the years that we need to use them to motivate our newcomers, the new members, to draw new members. Are we talking? Do we have enough voice? Are we loud enough? Are we sharing enough of those informations in order for us to be able to bring in new people who will feel motivated to be a part of this already amazing community? So what we have a lot. We got so much information from everybody that I don't think I'm able to talk about everything of them. The one thing that also Francesca brought up is about we need to be a women community that leads. Often than not, we have a tendency to react. So what are the actions have we put together so that we can actually be the leaders? Leaders in any advocacy. Leaders in the way we communicate. Leaders in the way we plan and train to have our succession planning in place. So those are some of the things that was brought up during our breakout session. Of course, besides succession planning, which is a big thing, the other thing is about digital. Are all of us ahead of the trend in implementing digital platform to reach out to more people, to reach out to younger people, right? So that's two key things that we talked about. What else do we have? Gender. We talk about. Give me a second here. All the notes, I'm trying to put them together. We also talk about we need to embrace diversity. It is more so today than 20, 30 years ago. I mean, it's a challenge that we face from a long time ago. It's a challenge we still face today. But going forward, we need to have a louder voice. We need to be more committed to to have conferences, messages, activities that surround diversity, right? So these are some of the things that we talk about. We also talk about communications. How do we communicate with the new people? How do we communicate with the people that we have? Communication is not a one-way street. We have to be consistent. And I think that is the key. Many of our clubs have the interest and the heart to want to do a lot of things. We do it once and then it disappears. So going forward, we need to find ourselves in the directions of having more consistency in all the programs and activities, the advocacies that we are implementing. That's the only way for the new members to see that we basically walk the talk, right? Throughout generations, not just in the 20s, the 30s, or the 40s, but throughout generations. What applies to us 50 years ago, many of the issues that we face still applies to the new people today. I will stop here and let Lisa share, the other moderator share, because there are a lot that we have taken from the breakout session. Lisa? Sorry.
I think, Valerie, you have question 2?
Yes. So our question for breakout room 2 was, what tangible and intangible value at club, federation, international level could BPW offer in the future? So just to explain what a tangible and intangible value is, a tangible value is something quantitative that you can easily count and say, you know, for example, if my membership is $100, I have access to each event, like 10 events that are $50 each. So that is a value of $500, which I only pay $100 for. So quantitatively, that's a tangible thing, or something that, you know, you can get in your hands. If I join a membership, I have like a very cool scarf, I have the badge, I have a nice bag, you know. So those are tangible things that people can qualitatively say, I have this, and they can count that. Intangible thing is something that you cannot obviously cannot count. So for example, maybe access to certain high-profile mentors, and I talk about it in the sense of Amazon. If you buy something on Amazon, it's not just about the ability to buy a lot of things, but the convenience that they offer. So maybe, you know, if BPW offers convenience to mentors, to somebody in a very specific industry, that is something intangible. So I'm going to start off with by saying that most of the members that we spoke to say they joined for the tangible, but the many stayed, obviously after many years, for the intangible because of the support, the friendship, the love, and the international connections that we have. And how then do we take this to move into the future of BPW, right? And Tomi from BPW Nigeria was saying that, you know, young members have a lot of ideas. And sometimes we do want to just run really, really fast. And because BPW International has grown organically over the past 90 years, I think, you know, times have changed where sometimes speed is of the essence. And that's it when it comes to social media, we do need like a bit of a budget to actually accelerate these things, accelerate visibility. And don't forget, there's a lot of other advertising out there, a lot of other members, a lot of other clubs, and people are constantly being bombarded with information, not just about women organization, but articles about shopping, about anything and everything, which is why companies spend money on marketing. So if we can have run with the ideas, you know, but because we've had an amazing structure of what BPW International has had to offer, so she had this quote, let us run with the ideas, but cushion us with the structure, cushion the youth with the structure of what BPW has. You know, we have a strong, powerful organization with a great structure. So, but let's move forward and run at the speed of light. Other things that were brought up of how we can move forward is, yeah, profiling of our members, you know, showcase what all the members do. We also want to meet, let's say, if we can have access to high profile people. And then young people want to kind of blend in, but at the same time, they want to be recognized. So acknowledge their achievements, whether it's something personal, whether it's something in the professional realm. So if, let's say, one of the members runs a 10K and, you know, it's a personal achievement for them, it'll be nice to obviously share that with, you know, not just locally, but let's say if you have in your social media, if you have a newsletter. And then we also talk about publicity and advertising. Because somebody mentioned that they advertised their mentoring program before and that got a lot of return when people were signing up for it. The problem then was then how do you retain the people who were signing up at that time? So one point that was brought up is to then maintain contact constantly with not just the organization, or even though if you worked with schools. Sue from the UK mentioned that they worked with schools to offer and run a free public speaking competition, which they raise funds for, which BPW, the UK raised funds for. And they actually maintain contact with the school, which is good because then you have a pipeline of younger members that, you know, would be interested in this. But at the same time then, they said they forgot to, well, it was tough for them to maintain relationships with the students. And because if you want to have, like, you know, I think Kim was mentioning succession planning, how do you then bring the young members along at different stages in their lives? So if you're maintaining contact with the organization, that's great, but also trying to extend it to the people themselves. Cross advertising and promotion, because when they did for the public speaking competition. They worked with different organizations and everyone took the effort to publicize each other. So that helps to get the name of BPW out there. So Brazil mentioned that, Tabata from Brazil mentioned that we should work with the database of members, tangibly make the connections and the contacts of members available. This way, then we feel that we're actually part of a bigger network, because rather than just have the idea that, hey, we're part of an international network that has so many countries, so many members, and so many amazing women, how do you see that? So make these things tangible, whether it's putting it on a website, and they are currently working on that so that people can have easy access to message or just share an email and reach out. This way, then we can reach out and build strong connections between both seasoned members and new members. Intangibly, she was saying what they've done has worked really well, is that they give the newer members responsibilities to make them feel like they're important and significant. Whether it's something, even something small, it makes them feel that, hey, they're actually part of an organization, they're part, and they're actually contributing. She talked about mentoring, and this girl that they are working with, she actually took the time and effort to study and actually help and mentor a younger member, even though she may not have felt that she was ready. Also, I think Christine brought up how they did, I think it was a bit of a melding the tradition with new, meet the new members where they are, if we want to attract new members, keep the traditions, but add in new things. And things like helping with the resume development and doing more mentoring really worked also. And lastly, she said to also have a young person run the social media, because that's where you want to meet the future of BPW, right? You want to meet the young members, you want to attract them to join the association or join your club. So give them, and that also helps them, give them a responsibility, especially if it's a young member in your club, then they feel that they're actually contributing. And that's about it from breakout group 2. I will pass it on to Lisa now.
Thank you. So for breakout group 3, our question is, what do you think it will take to be a BPW woman going forward? And discuss this in the sense of mindset and commitment to contribute. I think a lot of the ideas here actually run quite aligned with what Kim and Valerie was saying. So one of the key things that we talked about was a database and the network that we have. So existingly globally, we have different sisters, different affiliates, clubs, federation. However, we don't know each other. And I think with COVID, a lot of us are saying that this brings us closer together with the technology and different ways that we can chat. However, it is a professional and business and professional women group, and it is essential for us to make that connection on a business level as well. So many members talking about reinvigorating the database that we have. Sylvia mentioned that we already have one on our internet already. We have Hyung from USA who mentioned that we should definitely refresh our LinkedIn group. I know there's definitely one, but as professional women, that should be a platform that we look to use. And I think when we're talking about mindset of what a BPW woman should stand for, one thing that stood out is inclusiveness and diversity. I think over the past few days, these are all themes that would very well resonate with you. There are also others, Liz Benham, for example, talking about, being transparent, for a BPW woman to embody that transparency, having ownership, being a voice and being active in the club, the federation, or affiliates that we are in as BPW women. And this could be at all levels, right? We know what our mission is, educate, advocacy, empowerment, all that. But we need to have these values and for us to be the ambassador for BPW. Vicky, she mentioned about invitation and bringing people onto our journey. I think that's also a great mindset that we need to carry in mind, making sure that, whether it is our sisters or non-members, making sure that they're involved with us. Because I think, to resonate Valerie's point, a lot of people come in for the tangible, but stay for the intangible, for the sisterhood that we offer at BPW. And another thing that our group mentioned also was definitely the marketing and the communication side, having the investment and the value in it. Because for me, my background is actually in communication as well. And this is definitely something that BPW as a whole can improve and do more upon. And that would help us to show our relevance now, and then we can communicate our history, because our history will always be there. And, you know, when we started off, we didn't have all that, right? But now we do, and that's something rich. We have to communicate that, but not before we tell people the relevance of what we do now. Last few points. There were conversation about, you know, making sure that different affiliates are linked to BPW International, the communication side, whether it's the newsletter or the events or the groups. Having that interconnectedness is also quite important as we go forward. And lastly would be on the leadership side, making sure that, you know, as we recruit members or for ourselves, having the mindset that we're always willing to serve and showing respect. That is definitely essential. So with this, I think we have a fourth group. I'll pass it to Anne.
Yes, hi everybody. We started out with 3, but then we had a handful of people who couldn't get into the breakout rooms for technical reasons. So we made a 4th group, impromptu. And I'll just give you some of the feedback from that group. So inclusion was a big theme in this group, and that we should make sure we include very actively our younger members and our elder members, as well as everyone in between, and also those who are more vulnerable in one way or another. And that we need a comprehensive approach at all levels, and with all levels, by which we mean local, national, regional, and international, communicating very clearly and openly with one another, and listening, not just broadcasting. So we also had a lot of talk about member-driven aspects, in that more egalitarianism, less hierarchy, more grassroots initiatives coming up through the levels, so to speak, and to represent the members. The feedback of the needs at the local level also should really drive our program. So we should be conducting, probably regularly, but anyway, we should be conducting surveys and other types of data gathering instruments at the local level, so that at those other levels, we understand what the local needs are. And one of the members in our group was talking specifically about support for local projects from the international level, more support at the local level. And for example, having a mentoring club or person assigned to the new or young clubs to help them understand better what it is that they're doing as they're developing their club. We had a note for business and professionals working together more, because we are, some of us are both, but we are mostly in one category or another, and we need to cross over between those 2 categories more than we are. Youth as a central focus. This was another point, and this echoes what the UN is promoting. The current UN initiatives under the Secretary General are from policy to implementation, involving youth at every aspect of that. And so youth as a central focus means not just an ancillary program in our organization, but making it more of really what we're about. And in my mind, actually, that's the only way we can sustain, or anybody in any organization can sustain, is if we keep attracting young members. Clear focus for each club. One woman said that the best and most successful clubs, by which we mean the most active, the most likely to attract new members, the most the ones that end up having the most longevity, are those that have a very clear focus, and usually that manifests in specific projects. And so members can't say, I don't see the point, or what's this all about? It's very, very clear for them what it's all about. We have finally involving maybe setting up clubs in schools and universities, and at the very least involving more women at those very young levels of secondary school and university. And so setting up schools at clubs at those levels, and also training younger women starting at those levels to enter politics and for leadership skills and so on, so that we're part of the solution from a very early age. more direct involvement with the UN representatives and through them, the UN agencies. So all in all, I think that covers everything from our group, but all in all, it's more involvement across the levels, less hierarchy, more communication, and more transparency. Thank you.
Thank you. So to sum up, I think, today we have a lot of great, very, very tangible plans, ideas, thought, and mindset of how BPW should be in the future. I think a lot of these ideas are definitely something, within our affiliates, we can bring it to the table to have that conversation with the executive committee to make it happen. And I think on the international level, this is also a conversation that we definitely should be having. I think one thing I think to sum up, I think what really resonates with me is that we have a very, very rich history. And the foundation of a history is that every woman that has been a BPW woman has planned for the future generation. The work we're doing now, whether it is the advocacy, the education, the empowerment, is for the next generation. I think we cannot lose sight for that. I think a lot of the communicate better to make sure the next generation, younger members join us, or whether it is inclusion, making sure both old and young members are together. That's something that we need to continue to strive towards. So with that, I think looking forward, we need to look at digital. We need to look at the inclusion, bringing in more youth, of course, and making sure we communicate better. I think the intangible is what many of us continue to stay today, but we have to make a case for new members to join us as well. So the tangible also needs to be there. I think with that, I would like to thank you everyone for attending the event today and for participating, giving your comments, and good evening, good morning, or good afternoon to everyone. Thank you so much.